Hi everyone, welcome to my channel Test Automation Mantras. In today's session, I'm going to talk about AI. So, there was a time when I was talking about creating API test cases using Postman. I have taken an example of pet store and shown how do you create those test cases manually in Postman. Now, today the time have changed and AI has come into picture. It's playing a great role. So, today I'm going to show that with in no time when you know this is your API call, this is in a Swagger as a form of requirement or as a specification, how can you create those test cases in no time? I'll just show first that what we are talking about. Say, for example, this is a pet store Swagger page. You got pet endpoints where you're creating, updating, deleting pet. Same way you're doing users, you will create users, you will update users, you will delete users, and you will ensure, like through the endpoints, you'll be checking whether users are deleted successfully or not, and the pet is created and deleted and updated successfully or not. So those are going to be normal test cases. But instead of you copy and paste the same thing in manually in Postman, how can you do just with a set of scripts? So I'm going to show what I have done as a script. So let me just bring in my code in here. So in this case, I'll just show the output and what exactly it does and what you will see in the Postman as an example. I'm using VS Code. We have discussed this in past sessions that you will be able to use any IDE, but for now I'm using uh, Visual Studio Code as an IDE, and I'm trying to run the scripts which are created is using Node.js. So there is a pre-setup which I can explain later, but for now, just will show the execution and show what the outcome you will be looking at. So for now, the examples which I've taken, so I have two swaggers. One is petstore.yml and the other one is userAPI.yml file. So this is just the example files, and I have the server URL as like a sample here. I can go and change it when I run the test cases and execute in Postman, or I can go and change the version here as well. For now, I'll keep the same and I'll tell you what changes you have to do if you don't fix it here. So let's try to run one test case, one uh, pet store or user API example and see how the test cases are getting generated. When we import this into Postman collection, what does it look like? So the simple command which I'm going to run is, say for example, I have user API. I'm going to generate the test cases based on user API.yml file here, and this is containing all your endpoints, whether you're creating, updating, and deleting users. And then you are sending your output this to this folder, output folder, which is here. In the output folder, again, it's written that what all you are creating is it'll extract the environment variables, it'll extract your collections as in test cases. So it's creating a collection if there is a requirement to have like a orchestrated workflow, it will cater for that as well. And all the logic is being written here that what it needs to do. So let's start with the user API. I'll just run this simple command. You see here, um, I need to be in the Swagger folder. So I'll just switch to the Swagger folder because I'm executing command from there, and Node.js module do exist inside the generator only. So after the execution, as you can see the summary, what it is trying to tell that this is the base URL. There are 5 endpoints in that. It has created 17 test cases. Also, it says there was a CRUD workflow. It has created with the 6 steps, and it generated the Postman collection. So if you see, you didn't need to spend any time in this case, and it had generated the Postman collection on behalf of you with a set of scripts. It has created 4 different files in here. In this case, we'll be using collection because that's where all the test cases are created. But I'll show you the content inside what all these JSON files including like after the processing. So let me pull back or bring the Postman here. So say for example, in Postman, you would like to see the test cases. So right now what we will do is I will just say import, and I will select the collection postman collection.json file here. So I will open this file. It'll ask to import if any collection does exist, like in this case there is already user API exists, so I will import as a copy, and you can see user API copy 3 is imported. So if I go to user API 3 copy, you can see there are 23 requests created. The first one containing the user's CRUD workflow, as I was talking about, that whenever you are testing API calls, you need to create the data first. Then you have to verify data is created successfully. If you're updating details, you update the details and then you verify it again that it's updated successfully. And then you go and clean up. So that's the CRUD operation here. So CRUD is nothing but it's a create, read, update, and delete. And then you verify after deleting the user, the cleanup is successful as well. So in this case, it created like a different test cases with positive, negative, and a boundary test as well. We'll try to execute the first test case, which is a create user in this case. So let's have a look at the base URL I was talking about. So in this case, I have not imported the environment file. This is using the existing environment file, which I will show you what it contains. So it contains like a base URL as a pet swagger.io pet swagger pet store.swagger.io, and the base URL one, actually this is what the value is there in the source files. So if you execute just this test case without any change and it's using pet store.swagger.io, it will fail because this endpoint doesn't exist on that. That's why I'm saying there are a few changes you need to do either in the base call or you do here. So I will change it to the placeholder. With the placeholder it works fine. If you see that it is getting request body so nicely, and it has added a list of test cases. After the execution you can see all are getting successful. So you have status code, you have user ID, return it's not null, and response time is under 2 seconds. Now let's verify through the call whether the creation is done successfully. So again, the base URL, in this case, it is picking petswagger.io. So how do you verify whether the URLs are correct or not? Because I have passed one of the examples to pick up the files. But if you go back to the Swagger page and pick, say it's a user, and in this case, you just pass any user and say execute, you will see whether URL is correct or not. So if you see the path which is there for the server is petstore.swagger.io/v2. So this is the manual fix need to do. If you don't fix in the source code before generation, this is where the manual effort is required, but generally it should be done in the version. You need to specify for which version you are testing in, and then you need to change the path there. But in this case, say for example, I have to get this test case working. So you see the path is v2 and users. So I have changed that manually here just to see if it is working or not. So in this case, 404 not found. I expect that should have been created. So if you have to troubleshoot, this goes back to your troubleshooting skills. User ID, it is getting 11. And then if you go back to this create users, this is creating a user successfully. And if you go to body, you can see what is the body looks like. Okay, if you go back to here, so in this case your response body, its ID is 10 and then username is 0. To look at the source itself, when you are doing get user, if you can see, it is passing not the ID but it is passing a username. That's exactly the call is. But what it has created here in terms of the actual call, it is using user ID. So it's not going to work. That means the first call which is storing, it's storing user ID, but it needs to store the username. So I'll look at the response and see which one is, which line it is storing. So this is the response body. It got the response body and it's extracting the ID attribute. So instead of ID, it needs to be name. You need to send it again completed successfully. Now, if you go here and if you say username, it should be the actual username. So you can just send it, and you see it's completed successfully. Now your expected response is also 200 okay, and time is under 2. Same thing, either you can fix it here as I mentioned, because it requires version 2, and the path is going to be user. So this is what the fix require. I can go and fix the script, or I can go and fix in the environment variables. Either way, it is going to work. So it is saying something is not found, so there's a slash missing. Okay, 200, test case all passing. You have updated user successfully. Now this is a bit of manual fix I'm doing, because I can go and fix in the scripts, or I can change it here. So now I'm validating the updated user. So in this case, you are checking user is updated successfully, and then you're able to get the updated user as well. Same way you can go and delete. In this case, it will delete the user which is created right now. And I will just change the path and send 200 okay. Message is John Doe. This is the user we created, and test case successfully uh, executed within 2 seconds. And now verify user was deleted. That's the last call we want to do. So you'll see again v2, and then users. If you go and execute the last call, it is going to confirm that the response expected in this case is going to be 404 not found, because user is already deleted. So it actually have created like a CRUD workflow, as you can see, automatically. It also created a list of test cases with the positive inputs, as well as there are negative test cases. What will happen if your username is missing? And there are some boundary test cases it created as well. So I think this looks empty, but if I look at the previous test cases which were created, let's see if there is anything. Yes, no boundary test cases, mainly positive, negative, and the CRUD workflow. So this is important to see the business flow and how nicely it has created. Now, if you want to do the same thing for the other test cases, which is a pet, you can do same here as well. But before we do, I just mentioned that I will show you the content, what it is creating here in different files. Let me pick just workflow.json. As you can see, the last file which was generated, and the content it is creating in the form of whatever you see as a test case. So it's creating, say, CRUD workflow. User creates the create user with the body and the expected status. So this is nothing but creating that CRUD workflow with all the endpoints as a business flow. Now what we'll do is we'll do the same thing, but running for a pet store basically. So pet endpoints. I will execute the same. It's completed successfully. As you can see, the collections also created nicely. So it has created 4 steps as part of CRUD workflow, as well as yeah. So this is the endpoint. It is using /v2. This is a base URL. In this case, we'll have a look if we need to change anything manually. So if I go to again Postman collection, I can import the collection again. So if I just select the same collection, import it, if it exists, it'll create like as a copy. So post swagger pet store copy is imported. Let's see what it does and where the copy is created. So it's a pet store, so we have to find a bit up. And I think it's creating with the name of pet store, which is like a swagger pet store. So as you can see, it's creating a pet CRUD workflow, as well as positive and negative test cases here as well. So we'll have a look at the CRUD workflow. So it's creating a pet, it's getting a pet, deleting a pet, and verifying a pet. You can add more workflows if you want, like where you're creating, you're updating pet details and then doing something further. So you can have those cases created as well. But for now, let's have a look whether it's actually after creation, whether test works fine or not. You can see it's going to have the same problem because it's a pet store, but the path is actually version 2. Yeah, you see the it's created successfully and all the test cases executed are fine as well. Now, why it's not picking v2 as a version in the path? I thought it's already specified here as a base URL. It could be the reason because I haven't imported our latest environment variables, and the one I'm passing from here, this actually containing this particular just this swagger, it doesn't have a v2. So that's the only reason I can think of. But after changing it manually, as you can see, so it says pet not found. Let me have a look which URL it is trying to. So pet created, successfully created, and it does have a value as one. Let me, the one I created this morning. So say, for example, just the pet, it was again v2 slash v2. So 777, and now verify your pet is created successfully v2 slash. I'll have a look at the yeah, in case you see it's created successfully. Here, if I look at the path, looks fine. The headers looks fine. If I look at this, headers is fine as well. There's nobody, just the URL. It's a pet store swagger.com, and in this case as well, it's the same URL. So have a look at what actually it's checking. Is it to, okay, there you go. So it's working. I'm not sure what was causing the previous failure. So again, you go to delete pet, whichever is created, you will go and delete the pet which is created. Again, 200, okay. Verify the pet is deleted successfully. So 200, okay. For this case, 404 not found because we have deleted the pet one step before, and then you are just verifying whether it's completed successfully or not. Now, if you want to run this as a collection, you can do that as well. So say, for example, you want to run all the test cases inside this collection, you can actually create this collection. So this is great. So given I'm going to make this like a reusable in a way that you can pass any Swagger files. Definitely you have to define a source somewhere, and you pass that URL and everything else will be taken care of. You just need to import the collection to your Postman and then execute those test cases. Now, for now, I have shown an example for Postman, but you can use any destination. So I'll be showing more examples. So if you would like to create test cases into a different format, different tooling, using some libraries, if you want to create test cases in, say, HTTP, your framework, you got a framework, you want to migrate to, say, a framework which is using rest assured or it's HTTP clients. I'll be showing an examples more on those as well. Just for now, just avoid creating any test cases manually, and this is a great way that you can use AI here. All the scripts you can create in no time and use those scripts. You will save tokens, as well as it's just a reusable script. You can create n number of test cases in within minutes, and everything is ready to go. I will come back to more scenarios. Thank you everyone for watching. Let me know if any questions. Reach out to me. You can DM me on LinkedIn as well.